Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to Morgan Hill Farms. It is a beautiful Saturday here, a little overcast. The sun keeps peeking out at me, but this morning I got out early, wanted to beat the crowds, and I was able to get everything that we're gonna need for our Thanksgiving dinner. I think I hit probably every grocery store within a 10-mile radius so I could take advantage of all of the great sales that were going on. But one thing I wanted to bring to your attention that I thought you guys might not think about stocking up on, but something that I always do, are cranberries. You're not going to find them any cheaper than right now. I use cranberries to make our own homemade cranberry sauce and cranberry juice. And those two products, once you make them yourself, you'll never want to go back to store-bought. There is just no comparison. One other thing that we also make is cranberry rum sauce. That's delicious too. But the cranberry sauce recipe, I get that right out of the ball canning book. And honestly, that's a super simple recipe if you've never canned anything before and you want to try something. You're literally just taking those cranberries, putting some sugar in them, a little bit of water, cooking them down and pureeing them. And because cranberries already kind of have that natural pectin, you don't have to worry if it's going to gel up like your jams or your jellies, and it's really, really simple. One thing I will say though is definitely make sure that you're using a wide mouth canning jar, whether that be a jelly jar or a little bit bigger of a pint jar. It just makes it easier to scoop that out when you're ready to use it. So the second thing that I do is the cranberry juice. That's also incredibly easy. You are putting whole cranberries into a quart jar with some sugar. You kind of just, that's to taste, and then you fill it with water and water bath can that. And in about 2 weeks, once that's had a time to sit on your shelf, you will have the most delicious cranberry juice. So if you guys have never canned before, maybe give those recipes a try. Now, I am happy to tell you that I did not spend anywhere close to that $1,000 mark that the media is telling us the average American is spending right now. I snagged a 20-pound turkey for just over $5, and then everything else that we needed came to around 35 bucks. And I should say, one thing that I didn't see in the flyers that you guys want to keep your eyes open for is that Aldi had a lot of their canned vegetables for 50 cents a can. I feel like these days we typically are seeing 80 cents to maybe even $1 a can. So if you guys have any extra room in your pantry, you may want to think about stocking up on those things. Now, if you guys have seen some of my last videos, you know I've been talking about the fact that Nate and I are scaling back, just doing things a little bit smaller this year for Christmas because of the economy, and we're just being very mindful of everything that's going out right now. So of course, I tell you that. And as soon as that video went out, I started getting text after text after text. I kid you not, 5 or 6 different group texts about these gifts that people want to go in on together. So my kids are part of sports teams, different activities, of course their homeschool co-op. And then on top of that, on top of buying gifts for all of the leaders of those, these people also want to do gift exchanges between the kids. So Nate and I are sitting there, these things are coming in, and it's almost kind of comical how they all came in at once. But as I'm starting to add this up, I'm realizing that this is going to cost me a lot of money. I'm looking at potentially hundreds of dollars in unexpected gifts that I've now been voluntold to buy. And so now I get the privilege and the very awkward task of trying to tell people very delicately that I'm just not prepared to buy those extra gifts. Now, if it was something like a $5 gift, or maybe we're making homemade cookies or some goodies and passing those out, I am all for that. I can definitely get that done, and I'm right there with you. But some of these things are like $35 and $40 per person. So that adds up so quickly. And unfortunately, I guess I'm just gonna have to be the party pooper of the group this year, but it's gonna have to be okay, because I mean, what do you do? And sometimes I wonder, if I'm the only one that's living in this economy. Of course, there are always going to have to be things, that pop up that you are going to have to pay for. We've got this storm door on the front of my house, and the mechanism inside of it broke. Well, you basically couldn't open the door. You could pull down the handle, but the latch wouldn't release. So I had this brilliant idea. I was just going to open it up. I took that internal mechanism out. I reattached the handle, and we just didn't have a latch. But it worked just fine for a few months. But a couple of weeks ago, when I told you guys we had that cold front, the wind came and it was so strong that it actually took that door and opened it and overextended it. So now not only do I have a broken door handle, I have a broken, I guess, the door closer thing on the top of it that helps that door to shut. So now I have to replace both of those unless I want that door to get ripped off of its hinges. So I was looking online at Lowe's, Amazon. I cannot find a handle cheaper than $90, and the door closer is about $20. So that's $110 that I've got to spend, and I have to get that done. If I don't get it done, I'm just asking for more trouble. But there's really no reason that that mechanism inside that door should have broken. That latch, literally made of metal, broke in half. And everything just seems to break these days. Even stuff that's supposed to last forever. I kid you not, last Christmas we replaced some of our recessed lighting. They're LED recessed lights in our kitchen because they were flickering. And they're literally doing it again. It hasn't even been a year. And they market those to last like 15 to 25 years. You know, they say, buy these LEDs, save the environment, you'll never have to change a bulb again. And honestly, I think the old incandescent ones lasted a lot longer. Another thing, our smart TVs. They won't connect to our wireless or to our Wi-Fi wirelessly anymore. So now I have to use an external device. Luckily, we had some of those old Rokus, you know, the things that you used before they had smart TVs. I have to use those just to be able to use the TVs. My soap dispenser in my laundry room sink, I think that lasted maybe 18 months. I've taken that apart, cleaned it, and I cannot get it to work. All of the plastic and the metal that they make this stuff out of these days just does not last. And it's everything. It's electronics, it's toys, even cars. Cars that cost like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Nothing lasts, but people just keep buying them. You've got GM right now. I'm sure you guys have heard about this. I feel like for the past 6 months has had huge recalls on their Silverados, their Suburbans, their Yukons, even their Escalades, you know, and these things are, heavens, gosh, probably $80,000 for your middle trim level on those vehicles. And I just think you're probably better off to keep your old car. Honestly, anything between like 2000 to 2010 was so much more reliable. When you get past, I don't know, maybe 2017, you start getting into some trouble. So I'm going to be driving my 19-year-old Odyssey for a little while longer here. It's not pretty, but I think I'm going to definitely outlast a lot of the newer cars on the road. A few months ago, when we were considering getting something, we were looking at some used 2024 Odysseys. Now, they were very expensive, like $35,000 to $40,000, and you would not believe after just a year the things on these vehicles that were broken. The weather stripping on the rear window was already cracking and breaking apart. The black accents between like the driver's side and the passenger side doors were all warped and faded after just 1 year. They're supposed to be this really nice shiny black, you know, like the ones on my 2007 still are. I asked the sales guy about it and he literally just shrugged it off like it's something completely normal. He said, well, you know, down here in the South, because we have such hot summers and the sun is so intense, if you park your car outside, those types of things are just going to happen. And I think, really? Because I'll bring you over to my car. Mine are still intact. And probably for 17 years of that vehicle's life, it has been parked outside in the hot sun. I just am not willing to finance a car for 7 years and pay $750 a month and have it break on me. How is anybody supposed to save money these days when you constantly have to rebuy everything that you just bought a year or so ago? I feel like companies are intentionally making these products to fail right after their warranty expires. It's a huge money maker for them. And you've actually got CEOs that are on record that say this stuff. Like the CEO of HP was talking about, you know, how he has to find a way to bring more revenue in, and this is a great way to do it. I mean, look at your kitchen appliances. Those are an expensive purchase, and they don't last. When we moved into our last house, before this one, it was built in 1990, and it still had all the original appliances in it. The refrigerator, the dishwasher, the stove, and everything was working just fine. Appliances today, I feel like they only last a couple of years. When we were looking for a freezer for our garage when we moved here, we knew we were going to need some more freezers since we were living this homesteading lifestyle. And I asked the guy on the phone at Lowe's, I said, is this one garage ready? I want to make sure it's going to last. And he said, oh yeah, it's garage ready, but really anything just lasts 5 years now. You're going to have to replace it after that time. And I just can't believe that he said that and that that's just considered normal now. Every single one of my appliances in my kitchen has either broken or it has problems. My refrigerator, that died 2 summers ago. My dishwasher, that breaks quarterly. I'm very well versed now in every component on a dishwasher, and I think I might start another YouTube channel on how to teach people how to fix their appliances since I do it so much. But my gas cooktop, I've had to have that repaired. My wall oven, that started making this really high-pitched humming noise when it preheats. My microwave, occasionally you'll get a little arc in there, but it's outrageous. And these appliances are like $2,500 for a new one. We pay so much more today for appliances that break than our parents did for ones that actually lasted. Do you guys realize that in 1970, the average appliance lasted 30 to 50 years? And I'm sorry, but you know what? I'm not giving any more of my money to these companies. Nate works too hard for us to just keep shelling out this money to these companies and lining their pockets. And some of these CEOs make more in one bonus than most of us make in a year. And I don't think I'm the only one that's ticked off about this. I don't know if you guys know, but there's actually a pretty big movement for buy nothing right now. Google searches on buy nothing challenges are up 270%. And I think people just need to stop buying these products, stop giving these corporations your money, and just start buying things secondhand. There's yard sales, there's estate auctions. One of my favorite places to find stuff right now is Facebook Marketplace. I use Nate's account all the time. I don't have my own, but I'm always on his checking out Marketplace, and you can find so many amazing things. And the stuff is incredibly cheap. And it's so much better quality. A couple of months ago, I found 3 solid wood Ethan Allen dressers, and I paid $150 for all 3 of them. If you went into a furniture store, you're gonna pay something like $1,500, probably even more. And they're just gonna be made out of particle board because today, 80% of our furniture is made out of particle board. Back in the 80s, it was like 30% was particle board and the other was solid wood. But today, to have a piece of solid wood furniture, it's almost like a luxury. I've gotten, let's see, these beautiful velvet wingback chairs. They were in pristine condition for $35 a piece. I got a 12 by 15 wool rug for $150. And another thing you can find too are linens. Things like sheets and curtains and comforters. Nate came home the other day with these comforters that this guy was just getting rid of. And, you know, he said, oh, I thought you could maybe use them down in the garden. If we got a late frost, you could use them to cover some stuff. And honestly, I'm thinking, oh man, what did he just bring home? What am I going to see here? But when he brought them in, these were Ralph Lauren comforters. They were so thick and so soft and made out of cotton. Yeah, they were a little bit dirty, and they needed a little bit of cleaning. But they were beautiful. And it's not the Ralph Lauren of today that you find at the store. This is like the Ralph Lauren of the 80s, when their stuff was just so much better. You know, they made things so much better. And I ended up just taking those down to our local laundromat because my washing machine's just not big enough for those. And for a couple of bucks, I got them all washed up. And they look brand new. And I guarantee they're gonna last a lot longer than anything that I can buy at Target or TJ Maxx, because everything today, all of your clothes and everything is just made out of these cheap materials. They used to make stuff out of 100% cotton, wool, linen. Now everything, even your luxury brands, use those synthetic things like polyester. And I swear, you wash it once and it pills. The stitching comes out. If you've got a swimsuit, you're lucky to get 2 seasons out of that elastic. You can save so much money and get such better stuff when you get things secondhand. And I feel like you're buying stuff that was made to last. I kind of feel like I might be shooting myself in the foot here, telling everybody my secrets. The next time I go on Marketplace, I probably won't be able to find anything. But if we get enough people to kind of jump on board with this, it's going to really affect the bottom line of these companies, and they're not going to just sit back and watch their profits disappear. They're going to have to start making things that actually last and that are actually good quality. So check out estate sales in your area. You can find incredible deals like high quality furniture. I bought a flame mahogany solid wood secretary with this bubble glass in the front of it for $200, and it was in perfect condition. But you can also find things like tools, your kitchen items. If you want to get into canning, you can find all-American canners. You can find fine china, silverware. You'd be amazed at what people just want to get rid of. So anyways, guys, definitely give some of these suggestions a try and let me know in the comments below what you guys have found. I love to hear where people are shopping and where they're getting the best deals at and how they're saving money. But I've got to get up to the house because those cranberries are waiting for me. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you in the next video.